Why are we like we are? Why are there so many religions? Why do people take on spiritual paths? Why do people want to self-improve? Why do people ask these questions? What is life for? Where are we going? What's the purpose? Why these questions? Centuries-old questions. The meaning of life, etc., etc. But it's obvious that very few people are settled. Very few people are content. Very few people are so relaxed that they just allow things just to come and go. So why are we so unsettled? Why are we ill at ease with one another? Why are we fearful of one another? What's all the anxiety about? We have these teachers that come into the world that incarnate. We say they incarnate as love. We say they incarnate as all accepting, all embracing. These historical figures. And not so historical. There are people alive today who have disciples or devotees. We have people alive today who are awake, with a capital A, who are enlightened. How come? There are people who are settled, really settled, not because of anything in particular. They are just settled. They're just relaxed. They're just happy. They're few and far between. Why aren't you happy? Full-time happy. Why not? What's disturbing? You see, I come from the place that the body-mind is already happy and it gets disturbed. Simple as that. It gets disturbed. Just looking sorry. You could say that this tissue is already happy. It's happy being a tissue. But then it gets disturbed. It gets all ruffled. And that's what we're doing to ourselves. We're actually doing this ruffling to ourselves. I call it the self-contraction. I mean, this body is happy as it is. But in the mind disturbs. The mind is disturbance. The chit-chat that goes on in the head is a disturbance. You are disturbing the happiness of your body. Do you ever sit down and are you still? Can you sit still? Can you lie still? I had a yoga session on Sunday and the yoga teacher said she finds it very difficult to remain still for 5 minutes. She's always busy. That busyness is coming from the fact that we're contracting. And the mind tells us what we should be doing next and next and next. And whatever we're doing, the mind is saying, go elsewhere. You see, We are not intimate with whatever we're doing. We're not content with whatever we're doing, apparently. But I like the word already. If it wasn't for the intrusion of the mind, if it wasn't for the chit-chat, then you will see quite clearly that you are already happy, with a capital H, unreasonably happy and unconditionally happy. How often do you look? How often are you aware that you are not with whatever you're doing? Now here I am, I'm with. You know, these professionals, maybe antique dealers, they are with whatever goes into that, whatever they take hold of. They examine it. They look clearly. They're with. In some ways, we should be professionals in all we do. The disposition of a professional is intimacy. The disposition of a professional, it has integrity. The disposition, the open hand place of embracement. How often are you not embracing the conditions of your life and the conditions that are arising? We have no control, really, what's arising. We have no control, no individual control. We can make a difference, but are you with? Am I ever with? I'm with this texture. I'm with the design. I'm here. And when you're truly with, there's feeling attention. Feeling attention. Look at this. The weight of that's very heavy. It's a 3-wick, the 3 wicks candle, and it smells. How often are we with whatever we smell? I'm not saying you're never with whatever you're doing, but notice when you're not. Notice that pull. Notice that tension. That's the reason why we suffer. That's the reason why we're unhappy. That's the reason why we're not content. In that moment, we're doing attention. Attention. There's tension. Being with whatever is arising. I was given this for Christmas. It's a kind of large coaster, very colourful. I thought, God, that's heavy. But I am making use of it. I suppose it could be a teapot stand. Did you see, when you've given a gift, do you really look at what you see? I mean, are you really with what you're seeing? Let's look at the Christmas cards I've just put away. Where are they? I put them in here. Absolutely. I mean, no. And we throw all these away. I mean, what do we do with our Christmas cards? My sister, she cuts them up and uses them as gift tags. But I haven't, we say, look at it closely. And when we say that, we're feeling awareness. There's this feeling awareness when we look at things closely. We are allowing the body to be happy with whatever's arising. And there's so much unhappiness in the world. That unhappiness needs to be interrupted. And how do we interrupt? By finding something that we can love. There's so much we can love. We just the scissors. We can love the scissors. It seems crazy, maybe, but the natural disposition of the body-mind is love, is happiness, is joy. It's so inherent. The kingfisher. Isn't that lovely? And when you look at it closely, you see the little dots, you see the snow. I've still got my Christmas tree up, by the way. Let's move over. And to share. It's a delight to share. Ho, ho, ho. I often get the small cards. Silent Night, Holy Night. This is being made by Caroline, I think. Embellished by Caroline. I used to love seeing my mother unwrap her presents with great care and attention. Happy holidays. Have you looked at all your cards carefully and beautifully, and are you aware of, these were bought and they were chosen by our friends. And when you look at cards like this, it can take you into another world. But notice how happy you are when you're doing this. And that's the natural disposition of the body-mind. It's a joy. Joy, this characteristic of the divine is joy. This is the divine, this disposition. This is what has to be realized. People are seeking for what we already are. This moment in time. Pitfall Pump Rooms is only up the road. This is where they transmit concerts from on BBC. I love that scene. I love the snow. I've always loved the snow. Maybe it's because it sort of denotes cleanliness to me. Pure, of course. And it's all, everything becomes a kind of oneness. The snow brings everything together. You see, there's no separateness. Unhappiness is, separation is the cause, is the root cause of unhappiness. You feel separate from the objects. You feel separate from your loved ones. But when you're with the owl, when you're with the moon and the stars and the holly, I'm not sure what it is. When you're with the activity that's happening right now, when you're with the circumstances right now, you are at one and you are happy. There's Host from the Host Museum, Gustav Host. I played that piano for a couple of hours not so long ago. I've been invited to play it again. And here's the Christmas tree, bought by, was it Albert and Victoria. So a big thank you from Wendy. Another robin. I love robins. They love us, don't they? You know what? When you go out into the garden, you start doing some gardening. There's always a robin around. Seems to be. The 12 days of Christmas, we all know that. And the partridge in a pear tree. Who are these? Oh, this is from Liz. All the different gifts. Partridge, swans, animals, the drums, the pipes, the gold rings, leaping, and the letterbox and the holly and the redness. My teacher, Adidar Samraj, says Christmas should happen every day. We should be like the converted Scrooge every day. Not the unconverted Scrooge, but the converted Scrooge. Is that a lovely thing? Is it Lowry? I don't know what it says on here. Can't see what it says. It doesn't say Lowry. Where would that be? Ice skating. They've got a temporary ice rink up in Cheltenham. I don't want to throw these away. We don't want to throw things away that we think are making us happy. But this is our natural state. Our inherent state, our inherent disposition is happiness, likened to the open hand. And when we are in that open hand disposition, there's no unhappiness, there's no feeling of alienation, no separation. There's this inherent belonging to our conditional life. Look at this proud deer. He looks very proud, doesn't he? Look at his antlers. Festive deer. And the birds there, 2 or 3 robins in the tree. Ah, this is lovely. This is a 5-year-old, I think, wrote made this. Yes, she was 5. Cressida. Cressida's looks like 3D, doesn't it? This is from Chris and Camilla. I've just been speaking to Chris, my dear friend Chris. He's having a bit of a rough time at the moment. I think he's pulling through. If you're looking at this, if you're listening to this, Chris, I love you. I love our times together. I've known him for over 30 years. dear friend. Caught pneumonia. Anyway, here we are. It's a gift, I suppose, of a ribbon on it and a heart. Have a holly Christmas. Now, what have we got here? I think the hares, are they? The 3 hares. They have the lights in the. Looks so cozy, doesn't it? Always love looking into people's homes when I'm outside in the cold and seeing their fire and how cozy it is inside. There's 3 or 4 people up there in the snow. And this is a lovely card. It's quite magical. Look how it opens up. That's from my dear friend John. Isn't that lovely? Yes, super. And humour is so inherent, it's natural. Again, our natural state, our inherent state, this already state, as long as it's not being interfered with by the content of the mind and this self-contraction, then humour will become apparent. Look at that. Isn't that wonderful? Oh, look at all that activity. Isn't that lovely? Beautiful. It's a bit of, I don't know what it smells like. Thank you. Thank you. So these are expressions of love. How do we express love if we're not like this? There's no way. This contraction prevents us from being this. We've got to have things to open us up. It's got to be a joy. And these baubles on the tree. There's a Father Christmas somewhere. There's a robin. There's a Father Christmas there. More. Possibly a cello. Angels. These icicles. Well, thank you for being with me. And there's my fire somewhere. There's the fire. So, once again, little recap. The open hand disposition of happiness, joy, delight, intimacy, non-separation is our natural inherent state of the body-mind. When it's not interfered with, we are absolutely certain that this is all there is. And to be able to extend this moment throughout the day depends on how we use the mind. The mind abuses our bodies. The mind, all that chit-chat, the self-contraction, disturbs our relationships with one another. Simple, really. Thanks for listening. Bye for now. Blessings.